The bank balance stared back at me like a slap across the face. 0.00. My name is Audrey, and I've been a forensic accountant for 15 years. I've seen every kind of financial fraud you can imagine, but I never thought I'd find it in my own home. The account I was looking at, Livia's Special Needs Trust Fund, should have had $127,000 in it. Money I'd been saving for 8 years, every spare dollar going toward my daughter's future care. Instead, there was nothing. "Mitchell!" My voice cracked as I called for my husband. The laptop screen blurred as the tears threatened, but I blinked them back. I needed to see this clearly. He wandered into our home office, coffee mug in hand, looking annoyed that I'd interrupted his morning routine. "What's wrong now?" "Where's Livia's money?" The question hung in the air between us. Mitchell's face didn't change. No surprise, no confusion, nothing. That's when I knew. "I moved it," he said, taking a sip of coffee like we were discussing the weather. "You moved it where?" "Investments, better returns. You wouldn't understand the financial strategy." I laughed, but there was no humour in it. "I'm a forensic accountant, Mitchell. Try me." "Look, Audrey, we needed liquid capital for some opportunities. The money's not gone, it's just working harder." "Whose opportunities?" Before he could answer, the front door opened. Nora's voice carried through the house like nails on a chalkboard. "Mitchell, darling, are you ready?" My mother-in-law appeared in the doorway, her perfectly styled silver hair and designer outfit making our modest home office look shabby by comparison. Behind her, Gwendolyn clicked in on heels that probably cost more than my car payment. "Oh," Nora said, noticing me. "You're here." "I live here," I said. Gwendolyn snorted. "For now. What's that supposed to mean?" Mitchell set down his mug. "Mum, Gwen, maybe we should—" "No," Nora interrupted, stepping fully into the room. It's time Audrey understood her position in this family. I stood up, my chair rolling back. "My position? I'm his wife, Livia's mother." "You're a burden," Gwendolyn said flatly. "Always have been. That child of yours is draining resources that could be put to better use." The words hit me like ice water. "That child has a name. Livia, your niece. Livia is—" Nora paused, choosing her words carefully. "A financial liability. The money was being wasted on a lost cause. She's 8 years old. She's never going to be normal," Gwendolyn said. "Face reality, Audrey. That money could help the family build something lasting instead of throwing it away on therapy and special schools that won't change anything." I looked at Mitchell, waiting for him to defend our daughter. To defend me. Instead, he straightened his tie. "They have a point," he said quietly. The room spun. "Excuse me?" "Livia will always need care, but there are state programs, facilities. We don't need to bankrupt ourselves." "Facilities?" My voice was barely a whisper. "Specialized care homes," Nora said smoothly. "Much more appropriate for her needs, and much more cost-effective." I sank back into my chair. These people, my husband, my daughter's grandmother and aunt, were talking about institutionalizing Livia like she was a problem to be solved. "You stole from your own granddaughter," I said. "We redirected resources," Nora corrected. "Mitchell is the head of this household. He makes the financial decisions. Not about Livia's trust fund. That money was in an account with Mitchell's name on it," Gwendolyn interrupted. "Legally, it's his money." I stared at them. 3 people who should have loved Livia, should have wanted what was best for her, talking about her like she was a stock they wanted to dump. "Where did the money go?" I asked Mitchell directly. He looked uncomfortable for the first time. "Various investments. Some opportunities came up." "What opportunities?" Gwendolyn's new diamond bracelet caught the light as she checked her phone. It was beautiful, expensive, Very expensive. We should go, Nora said to Mitchell. The appointment with Damon is in 20 minutes. Damon, their family lawyer. What appointment? Just some paperwork, Mitchell said, not meeting my eyes. Estate planning stuff. They filed out, leaving me alone with my laptop and the devastating zero balance. I sat there for a long time, staring at the screen, thinking about every small slight, every dismissive comment, every time they'd made me feel like an outsider in my own marriage. Then I remembered something. Last week, when Nora had visited, she'd left her purse on the kitchen counter while she used the bathroom. I'd seen papers sticking out, financial documents with handwritten notes in the margins. I'd thought it was odd then, but now I opened my desk drawer and pulled out the photo I'd taken with my phone, just in case. The habit of a forensic accountant: document everything. The handwritten notes were in Nora's careful script. L's account, 127k transferred 315, and below that, Cayman setup complete, G's signature required. My hands shook as I zoomed in on the image. They hadn't just stolen from Livia. They'd been planning this for months. I called Delilah before I even left the house. I need your help, I said when she picked up. And I need you to not ask questions until I explain everything. Audrey, what's wrong? You sound... Can you meet me at the office? Now? Delilah had been my colleague for 6 years and my best friend for 4. If anyone could help me untangle this mess, it was her. 20 minutes later, I was spreading printouts across the conference room table while Delilah brought coffee and closed the door behind her. Okay, she said, sitting down. Talk. I told her everything. The empty account, the conversation with Mitchell and his family, the photo of Nora's notes. Delilah's expression grew darker with each detail. Those bastards, she said when I finished. Show me what you've got. I pulled up the bank records on my laptop. Here's Livia's account. Look at the withdrawal pattern. Delilah leaned in, her analyst brain kicking into gear. 3 large transfers over 6 months, always on Fridays, always to this routing number. She grabbed a pen and started writing. That's not a local bank. No, it's not. And this handwriting sample? I showed her the photo of Nora's notes. Cayman setup complete. That's offshore banking terminology. Jesus! Delilah pulled out her phone. I'm calling my contact at Treasury. This is money laundering. Wait. I put my hand on her arm. I need more proof first. If we move too fast, they'll cover their tracks. Audrey, they stole from a disabled child. How much more proof do you need? Enough to bury them. Delilah stared at me. This isn't just about getting the money back, is it? They want to put Livia in a facility. They called her a financial liability. Those words exactly? Those words exactly. Delilah's jaw tightened. She'd met Livia dozens of times, had seen how bright and loving my daughter was despite her challenges. What do you need me to do? Help me follow the money, all of it. I want to know every dollar they've taken and where it went. We worked for 3 hours straight. Delilah's connections in financial crimes gave us access to databases I couldn't reach alone. What we found made my stomach turn. Look at this, Delilah said, pointing to her screen. Gwendolyn's credit card statements. European vacation in April, $15,000. New car lease in May, 800 monthly payments. Designer shopping sprees every weekend. All after the first transfer from Livia's account. And here's Mitchell's personal account. Cash deposits that don't match his salary. Always the day after money leaves Livia's fund. I pulled up another window. Nora's been busy too. Home renovations, jewellery purchases, a new boat. A boat! 40-foot yacht, purchased cash. Delilah whistled low. How much total are we talking about? I'd been running calculations in my head all morning. From Livia's account alone, $127,000. But if this pattern holds across other accounts? Other accounts? I showed her what I'd found in the family's financial records. Mitchell has access to his father's accounts, power of attorney for medical decisions, but the financial authority is vague. How vague? Vague enough that $200,000 has moved out of Jace's retirement funds in the past year. Delilah sat back in her chair. They're robbing the old man too. And there's more. I pulled up another file. The family business accounts. Mitchell's been signing checks as acting CFO, even though he's never held that title. This is organised fraud. Multiple victims, multiple accounts, offshore transfers. Delilah shook her head. Audrey, this is federal crime territory. My phone buzzed. Text from Mitchell. Family, dinner tonight, 6 p.m. Don't be late. I have to go, I said, starting to pack up the papers. Go where? Family dinner. I need to act normal while we build the case. Audrey, be careful. If they suspect, they won't. I've been playing the naive wife for years. They expect me to roll over. Delilah grabbed my arm. What if they don't? What if they try to take Livia? The question I'd been avoiding all day. Then I'll stop them. How? However, I have to. I was almost to the door when Delilah called my name. Yeah? I ran a search on their lawyer, Damon Lucas. He's been sanctioned twice for ethics violations, both times involving client funds. Meaning? Meaning he's dirty too. And if he's helping them hide money, then he's part of the conspiracy. I drove home thinking about that word. Conspiracy. It sounded so dramatic, like something from a movie. But that's what this was. A coordinated effort to steal from the most vulnerable members of their own family. When I pulled into the driveway, Mitchell's car was already there. Through the kitchen window, I could see him on the phone, pacing and gesturing. He looked agitated. I sat in my car for a moment, watching him. My husband of 10 years, the father of my child, the man who'd promised to love and protect us both, the man who'd just sold out his own daughter for a yacht and some jewellery. I took a deep breath and got out of the car. Time to play the part of the obedient wife. But inside, I was already planning their destruction. The Burns family mansion looked like something from a magazine spread. Crystal chandeliers, marble floors, and enough flowers to stock a funeral home, all paid for with stolen money. Audrey, darling! Nora swept toward me in a cloud of expensive perfume. How lovely that you could join us for the party planning. I forced a smile. Wouldn't miss it. Jace's 70th birthday was apparently going to be the social event of the season. 200 guests, live orchestra, champagne fountain, the works. Where's Livia? Gwendolyn asked, not looking up from her phone. With her aide, speech therapy session. Still wasting money on that, Nora muttered. Mitchell appeared at my elbow. Mum, let's focus on the party details. The dining room table was covered with vendor contracts, guest lists, and catering menus. I pulled out my phone and started taking pictures, pretending to document the planning process. The ice sculpture alone is costing $12,000, Gwendolyn said, showing me her phone screen. But Daddy deserves the best. $12,000, almost a year of Livia's speech therapy. Speaking of the best, Nora said, show Audrey what you got him. Gwendolyn practically glowed as she opened a jewellery box. Inside was a vintage Rolex, gleaming gold and diamonds. It's gorgeous, I said, snapping a photo. Must have cost a fortune. $45,000, Gwendolyn said proudly. But it's an investment piece. Daddy's always wanted one. I zoomed in on the price tag still attached to the box. $45,000, purchased 3 days ago. Right after another withdrawal from Livia's account. And look what I got him, Mitchell said, pulling out a leather portfolio. Membership to that exclusive golf club in Scotland. Lifetime membership. How much was that? I asked innocently. $60,000. But the connections alone are worth twice that. I kept taking pictures. Every gift, every receipt, every smug smile. Evidence. Audrey, Nora said sharply, put the phone away. This is family time. Sorry, I just wanted to capture the memories. Well, stop. It's rude. I slipped the phone into my purse but kept the camera app running, recording audio. Now, Nora continued, we need to discuss the elephant in the room. Mitchell shifted uncomfortably. Mum, maybe we should... No, it needs to be said. Nora turned to me. Your behaviour yesterday was unacceptable. My behaviour? The accusations, the hysteria, it's embarrassing. I asked about my daughter's money. Money that was being mismanaged, Gwendolyn said. Mitchell made smart investment choices. What investments exactly? The room went quiet. Mitchell cleared his throat. Various opportunities, diversified portfolio. Such as, Audrey, Nora's voice was ice cold, you're not qualified to understand complex financial strategies. I have a master's degree in accounting. From a state school, Gwendolyn snorted, and 15 years of experience in forensic accounting. Forensic accounting, Nora repeated mockingly. Playing detective with spreadsheets. How quaint. I felt my face flush but kept my voice steady. It pays well enough to contribute to this family. Barely, Gwendolyn said. Your little job doesn't even cover Livia's expenses. Which is why, Nora said, we've made some decisions. My blood went cold. What decisions? Mitchell wouldn't meet my eyes. We've been looking into care facilities for Livia. We discussed this. She's staying home. That's not realistic long term, Nora said. She needs specialised care. She gets specialised care. At home. With me. You can't handle her forever, Gwendolyn said. She's getting bigger, more difficult. She's not difficult. She's 8 years old. She's a burden, Nora said flatly, on you, on Mitchell, on this entire family. I stood up so fast my chair scraped against the marble floor. Don't you dare! Sit down, Mitchell said quietly. Excuse me? Sit down. I stared at my husband. In 10 years of marriage, he'd never used that tone with me. We've already contacted Willowbrook, Nora continued as if nothing had happened. It's a lovely facility upstate, very discreet. You contacted a facility without telling me? We're telling you now, Gwendolyn said. The waiting list is 6 months, but they can expedite for the right donation. How much? $50,000, Mitchell said, for priority placement. $50,000. More money stolen from Livia, now being used to send her away. I won't sign anything, I said. You don't have to, Nora smiled. Mitchell has legal authority as her father. Not without my consent. Actually, Gwendolyn pulled out a folder. Damon says there are ways around that, especially if there are concerns about the mother's mental stability. The threat was clear. Sign off on institutionalizing Livia, or they'd have me declared unfit. You're insane if you think... My phone buzzed. Text message from Delilah. Urgent. Found major transfer to offshore account in Gwendolyn's name. $300K, call me. I looked around the table at their faces. Nora's cold satisfaction, Gwendolyn's smug entitlement, Mitchell's guilty avoidance. I need some air, I said. We're not finished discussing this, Nora called after me. I walked out to the garden and called Delilah back. Tell me, I said when she answered. Cayman Islands account. Opened 6 months ago. $300,000 transferred in 4 installments, all from accounts Mitchell has access to. Jace's retirement fund, and 2 business accounts. Audrey, they're not just stealing from Livia, they're systematically draining every account they can touch. Through the dining room window, I could see them still talking, planning, scheming. There's more. Delilah said. I found the Willowbrook contract. It's already signed. Mitchell forged your signature. The world tilted. When? Yesterday, right after your confrontation. They weren't just threatening to take Livia away. They'd already done it. I walked back into the dining room like nothing had happened. My hands weren't shaking. My voice was steady. Years of dealing with hostile witnesses in fraud cases had taught me how to hide my emotions. Sorry about that, I said, sitting back down. Work call. On a Saturday? Gwendolyn raised an eyebrow. Fraud never sleeps. Mitchell flinched at the word fraud. Good. Now, Nora said, sliding a stack of papers across the table. We need you to sign these. I picked up the first document. Power of attorney, giving Mitchell complete control over all financial decisions regarding Livia's care. What exactly am I signing? Just paperwork, Mitchell said quickly, making things easier for everyone. I flipped through the pages. Guardianship transfer, medical decision authority, and at the bottom, a document authorizing Livia's placement at Willowbrook. This says you can make decisions without my input. In emergency situations, Nora said smoothly, for Livia's protection. Protection from what? From a mother who might not make rational choices, Gwendolyn said. I set the papers down. I need time to review these with a lawyer. There's no time, Mitchell said. The deadline for Willowbrook is Monday. What deadline? The enrollment window, Nora explained. If we don't submit everything by Monday, Livia loses her spot. I stared at them. They'd orchestrated this perfectly. Create a fake deadline, pressure me to sign, then ship Livia away before I could fight back. I don't feel comfortable signing without legal review. Audrey. Mitchell's voice had that edge again. Stop being difficult. I'm being careful. You're being paranoid, Gwendolyn said. This is what's best for Livia. How is sending her away what's best? She'll get professional care, Nora said. Round-the-clock supervision, specialised programs. She has specialised programs at home. She has you, Gwendolyn said dismissively. Playing therapist with no real training. I've taken courses. I work with her team of professionals. You're in denial about her limitations, Nora said. She's never going to be normal, Audrey. Accept it. I picked up the pen. They all leaned forward slightly, thinking they'd won. Instead, I started crossing out sections of the documents. What are you doing? Mitchell grabbed my wrist. Modifying the terms. I'll sign for medical emergencies only, not placement decisions. That's not how it works, Gwendolyn said. Then I don't sign. Mitchell's grip tightened on my wrist. You're going to sign exactly what's written. Let go of me. Not until you stop acting crazy. I said, let go. He released my wrist but stayed close. Audrey, you're not thinking clearly. The stress of Livia's condition is affecting your judgment. My judgment is fine. Is it? Nora pulled out her phone. Because I have videos of you having meltdowns, screaming at Livia when she couldn't understand simple instructions. My blood went cold. What videos? Security cameras don't lie, Gwendolyn said. Neither do the recordings of you calling her a burden. I never called her a burden. You said, and I quote, I can't handle this anymore. She's too much. I remembered that day. Livia had been having a particularly difficult time, and I'd been on the phone with her doctor, explaining how challenging things had become. They'd taken my words completely out of context. You recorded private conversations? We documented concerning behaviour, Nora said, for Livia's protection. You're blackmailing me. We're showing you reality, Mitchell said. Sign the papers or we'll have to take more drastic action. What kind of action? Emergency custody hearing, Gwendolyn said, based on evidence of maternal instability. I looked around the table. They had it all planned out. The forged signature at Willowbrook was just backup. They wanted me to sign willingly so there'd be no legal challenges later. I need to use the bathroom, I said. Take the papers with you, Nora said. Think about what's really best for your daughter. I walked upstairs to the guest bathroom, papers in hand. Once inside, I locked the door and called Delilah. They're trying to force me to sign custody papers, I whispered. They have videos, recordings. They're threatening an emergency hearing. Stall them. I'm calling my lawyer friend right now. There's no time. They want the papers signed today. Then give them what they want. What? Sign the papers, but first, let me send you something. My phone buzzed with a text attachment, a photo of a document. What am I looking at? Life insurance policy on Livia. Mitchell took it out 3 months ago. $2 million payout. The room spun. He insured her. Gets better. The policy has an exclusion clause. No payout if she dies at home under family care. But if she dies in an institutional setting, full payout. Now you know why they're so eager to get her into Willowbrook. I sank onto the bathroom floor. They weren't just stealing from Livia. They were planning to profit from her death. Audrey, you still there? Yeah. Sign the papers. But first, take pictures of everything. Every document, every signature line, every clause. We're going to need evidence of coercion. What if they really take her? They won't get the chance. I'm already drafting emergency injunctions, but I need you to play along for now. I stood up and looked at myself in the mirror. My face was pale, my hands shaking. I looked exactly like someone having a breakdown. Perfect. I messed up my hair, pinched my cheeks until they were red, and practiced looking defeated. When I walked back downstairs, I was the picture of a broken woman. I can't fight you anymore, I said, my voice barely a whisper. I just want what's best for Livia. Nora smiled triumphantly. Of course you do, dear. I sat down and picked up the pen. Promise me she'll be safe. She'll be perfectly safe, Mitchell said. I started signing, taking pictures with my phone between each signature. By the time I finished, I had documentation of every forged clause, every illegal provision, every piece of evidence I'd need to destroy them. There, I said, sliding the papers back across the table. It's done. You made the right choice, Nora said. I nodded, playing the defeated wife. But inside, I was already planning their destruction. They thought they'd won. They had no idea what was coming. I spent Sunday in my home office, surrounded by printouts, bank statements, and photographs. Delilah had sent over everything she'd found, and I was building what prosecutors call an evidence package. Mummy? Livia appeared in the doorway, her favourite stuffed elephant tucked under her arm. Hey, sweetheart, what's up? Daddy said we're going on a trip. My heart stopped. What kind of trip? To a new school with other kids like me. I knelt down to her level. Livia, do you want to go to a new school? She shook her head. I like my school. I like Miss Sarah. Miss Sarah was her aide, the woman who'd worked with Livia for 3 years, who understood her needs, who'd helped her make incredible progress. You don't have to go anywhere you don't want to go, I said. I promise. Daddy says I have to. Daddy's wrong. Mitchell's voice came from behind her. Audrey, don't confuse her. I stood up, putting myself between him and Livia. Go play in your room, baby. I'll be up in a minute. Livia looked between us, sensing the tension, then shuffled away. We need to talk, Mitchell said. About what? The transition. Willowbrook wants her there by Wednesday. Wednesday? You said Monday was the deadline. Plans changed. They had a spot open up early. Another lie. I could see it in his face. She's not going. Audrey, you signed the papers. Under duress, with forged documents. Want to explain that to a judge? Mitchell's face went pale. What are you talking about? I pulled out my phone and showed him the photo Delilah had sent, the original Willowbrook contract with his forged signature. You signed my name without permission. That's fraud. I was protecting our family. You were stealing from our daughter. I was making smart investments. Show me. I grabbed a stack of bank statements from my desk. Show me these smart investments. Mitchell looked at the papers like they were radioactive. I don't have to justify financial decisions to you. You do when it's our daughter's money. It's my money. I earned it. Livia's trust fund came from my salary, every dollar for 8 years. Money that was sitting in a low-yield savings account. Money that was safe. Money that was wasted. His voice had risen to a shout. From upstairs, I heard Livia's door close. Keep your voice down, I said. Don't tell me how to act in my own house. Our house, that I pay half the mortgage on. For now. The threat was clear. I pulled out my laptop and opened a new document. What are you doing? Making a list. Every threat, every lie, every dollar you've stolen, for the divorce attorney. Mitchell lunged forward and slammed the laptop shut. There's not going to be a divorce. Watch me. You'll lose custody. The videos, the recordings, your history of instability. What history? The postpartum depression, the anxiety medication, the time you had to take leave from work. That was 6 years ago, after Livia's diagnosis. Doesn't matter, pattern of mental health issues, inability to cope with a special needs child. I stared at him. You've been planning this for years. I've been protecting this family. From what? From you. The words hung in the air between us. 10 years of marriage, and this was what he really thought of me. My phone rang. Delilah. Don't answer it, Mitchell said. I picked up anyway. Hey. Emergency, Delilah said. Can you talk? Not really. Code word if you're in danger. I'm fine. Okay, listen carefully. I found something big. Nora's been bribing the family court clerk. There's already a restraining order filed against you. It goes into effect tomorrow. My blood went cold. Tomorrow? Temporary custody to Mitchell. You're not allowed within 500 feet of Livia. Mitchell was watching my face, and I could see he knew exactly what the call was about. How long do I have? Hours, maybe less. They're planning to serve you tonight. Understood. I hung up and looked at Mitchell. Restraining order. For Livia's protection. Based on what? Documented evidence of erratic behaviour, threats against family members, inability to provide adequate care. I never threatened anyone. You threatened to destroy this family yesterday. I threatened to expose your crimes. Same thing. I walked to the window and looked out at our quiet suburban street. Normal families living normal lives. None of them dealing with stolen money and forged documents and restraining orders. When were you going to tell me? After the party, once Livia was safely placed. Safely placed. I turned back to him. You mean once she was out of the way so you could collect the insurance money? Mitchell's face went white. What insurance money? The $2 million policy you took out on our daughter. How did you... I'm a forensic accountant, Mitchell. I find hidden money for a living. That policy is for her care. That policy pays out if she dies in institutional care, not at home. You're being paranoid, am I? Because it looks like you're planning to profit from our daughter's death. That's insane. Is it? Steal her money, ship her away, collect when she dies. Pretty clean plan. Mitchell grabbed his keys from the counter. I don't have to listen to this. Where are you going? To finalise the arrangements. What arrangements? Livia's transport to Willowbrook. Tomorrow morning. He walked toward the door, then stopped. Audrey, when the sheriff comes tonight, don't make a scene. It'll just make things harder for everyone. After he left, I sat in the silence for a long time. Then I went upstairs to Livia's room. She was on her bed, colouring in a book. Hey, baby, is Daddy mad? Daddy's confused, but I'm going to fix everything. Promise? I sat down beside her and smoothed her hair. I promise. No matter what happens, I'm going to keep you safe. I love you, Mummy. I love you too. I stayed with her until she fell asleep, then went back to my office and opened my laptop. Time to finish what I'd started. The Burns mansion was even more spectacular than usual. Valet parking, red carpet, photographers capturing every arrival. Jace's 70th birthday party was the social event everyone had been talking about for months. I walked in wearing my best dress and a smile that felt like broken glass. Audrey! Nora swept over, resplendent in designer everything. You look adequate. Thank you. Where's Mitchell? Parking the car. And Livia? With her babysitter. Nora's eyes narrowed. I thought she was being transferred today. Change of plans. Before Nora could respond, guests started flooding in. The mayor, local business owners, society wives dripping in jewellery, all here to celebrate a man whose retirement fund had been systematically drained by his own family. I spotted Jace holding court near the champagne fountain. At 70, he was still handsome, still charming, still completely unaware that his son and daughter-in-law were robbing him blind. Audrey, sweetheart, he pulled me into a hug. Where's my favourite granddaughter? Home with a sitter. She wanted to come, but it's past her bedtime. Next time, we'll have an afternoon party just for her. If there was a next time. If Livia wasn't locked away in some facility by then. Actually, I said, pulling out a small wrapped box, I have something special for you. A surprise for later. What is it? A family memory slideshow. Photos and videos from over the years. I thought we could show it during dinner. Jace's face lit up. That sounds wonderful. How thoughtful. I'll set it up with the AV team. I walked over to the tech crew managing the sound system and handed them a USB drive. Family slideshow for the birthday boy, I said. He wants it played during dinner. Can you set it up? Sure thing. How long is it? About 20 minutes. I'll give you the signal when to start. The tech guy plugged in the drive and tested the connection. On the massive screen behind the head table, a title slide appeared. Celebrating Jace, a family legacy. Perfect. Audrey. Mitchell appeared at my elbow, looking stressed. We need to talk. Not now, it's your father's party. The restraining order was served this morning. I know. His face went pale. You know? I also know it's based on fabricated evidence. Want to discuss that here? Mitchell looked around at the crowd of guests, many of whom knew us personally. Keep your voice down. I'm being perfectly pleasant. You're supposed to be gone. The order doesn't take effect until midnight. I have hours. Audrey, don't make this harder than it has to be. Harder for who? Before he could answer, Gwendolyn appeared, practically glowing in a dress that probably cost more than my car. Audrey, I'm surprised to see you here. Wouldn't miss it. I thought you'd be busy. With other things. What other things? Moving out, getting settled, you know. I smiled sweetly. I'm not going anywhere. Gwendolyn's smile faltered. Mitchell, didn't you explain? Ladies and gentlemen. The bandleader's voice boomed over the speakers. Please, take your seats for dinner. The crowd moved toward the dining room. I made sure to sit at the family table right next to Jace. This is incredible, he said, looking around at the elaborate decorations. You all outdid yourselves. We wanted it to be special, Nora said, shooting me a warning look. It certainly is, I agreed. Dinner was served with military precision. 5 courses, each more elaborate than the last. I barely touched my food, too focused on watching the family. Mitchell kept checking his phone. Gwendolyn was drinking heavily. Nora looked like she was planning something. During the main course, I excused myself to use the restroom. Instead, I slipped into the hallway and called Delilah. "Status report," I said. "Everything's in motion. IRS has the tax documents. Adult Protective Services has the elder abuse complaint. The journalist has the story ready to publish. What about the injunction? Filed an hour ago. Emergency hearing scheduled for tomorrow morning. Will it hold? With the evidence we have, they'll never get near Livia." I heard voices approaching and quickly hung up. Nora and Gwendolyn were walking toward me, deep in conversation. "Has to be handled tonight," Nora was saying. "What if she fights it?" Gwendolyn asked. She won't, not after what Mitchell told her." "What did Mitchell tell her?" "That if she causes any problems tonight, we'll have her arrested for harassment." They stopped talking when they saw me. "Audrey," Nora said coldly, "eavesdropping?" "Just heading back to dinner." "Good, because we're about to start the toasts." We walked back to the dining room together. Jace was standing at the head table, champagne glass raised. "I want to thank everyone for being here tonight," he said. "Family means everything to me. The love, the support, the sacrifices we make for each other." The irony was overwhelming. "And now," Jace continued, "I believe my daughter-in-law has prepared something special." All eyes turned to me. I stood up and walked over to the AV tech. "Ready?" I asked. He nodded and handed me the remote. I turned to face the crowd. 200 people, all watching expectantly. The entire Burns family seated at the head table, smiling and relaxed. "This slideshow is a tribute to family," I said, my voice carrying clearly through the room. "To the bonds that tie us together. To the truth about who we really are." I pressed play. The screen filled with a beautiful photo of Jace and his late wife on their wedding day. The crowd murmured appreciatively. "How lovely," someone said. More photos followed. Family vacations, holidays, birthdays, all perfectly normal, perfectly sweet. Then the photos started changing. Bank statements appeared on screen. Withdrawal slips, transfer records. I heard Gwendolyn gasp. "What is this?" Nora hissed, but I was already walking toward the exit, remote still in my hand. The real show was just beginning. The slideshow continued automatically. On the massive screen, a bank statement showed Livia's account balance, $127,000. Then another slide. The same account 3 months later, completely empty. "Turn it off!" Gwendolyn shrieked, lunging toward the AV booth. But the tech guy was confused, looking between her and me. I still had the remote. The next slide showed a receipt. Gwendolyn's new Rolex purchase, dated the same day as the withdrawal. $45,000. "Oh my God!" someone in the crowd whispered. "That's not..." Gwendolyn started, but her voice was drowned out by gasps from the audience. More slides flashed by. Mitchell's golf club membership receipt, Nora's yacht purchase, all time-stamped, all cross-referenced with withdrawals from family accounts. "This is a mistake," Mitchell said, standing up. "Technical difficulties." But guests were already pulling out their phones, recording everything. The slideshow shifted to video footage. Security camera clips from the bank showing Mitchell making withdrawals. Audio recordings of family conversations. "She's a financial liability," Nora's voice echoed through the room. "That money could be put to better use." The crowd was dead silent now, all eyes fixed on the screen. "Turn it off, now," Nora screamed at the tech crew. "I can't," the tech guy said, frantically pressing buttons. "It's locked somehow," because Delilah had programmed it that way. Once it started, it would run to completion. The next slide showed the Willowbrook contract with Mitchell's forged signature. Then the life insurance policy on Livia. $2 million, payable only if she died in institutional care. Jesus Christ, someone said loudly. Jace was staring at the screen, his face grey. Mitchell, what is this? Dad, I can explain. You insured your daughter's death? It's not what it looks like. But the slideshow wasn't finished. Photos of Nora's handwritten notes appeared. Elle's account, 127k transferred, and Cayman setup complete. Offshore accounts, I said clearly, my voice carrying through the stunned silence. $300,000 hidden in the Cayman Islands. That's enough. Nora stood up, her face twisted with rage. This is harassment. This is evidence. The final slides were the most damning. Email chains between Mitchell, Gwendolyn, and their lawyer Damon. Planning the theft, discussing how to frame me as unfit, coordinating the restraining order. We need her out of the picture, Mitchell's email read. Once Livia's placed, we can access the insurance funds. The room erupted. Guests were talking over each other, phones recording everything. Some people standing up to get a better look at the screen. This is fake, Gwendolyn shouted. She doctored these documents. Did I doctor the bank records? I asked. The security footage? The audio recordings? You're insane, Mitchell pointed at me. She's having a breakdown. Am I? I pulled out my phone and held it up. Because I'm recording this too. Every word, every threat, every lie. Jace slowly stood up, his hand shaking. Mitchell, is this true? Dad, you don't understand. Did you steal from your daughter? I was investing. Did you steal from me? Mitchell's mouth opened and closed like a fish. No words came out. $200,000, I said, from your retirement accounts. Your son has been systematically draining your finances for over a year. Jace sat down heavily, his face pale. My retirement fund? Gone, along with the business accounts he had access to. Security! Nora screamed. Remove this woman! But the security guards were just as stunned as everyone else, staring at the screen where the final slide had appeared. Copies of complaints filed with the IRS, Adult Protective Services, and the FBI. All evidence has been submitted to the appropriate authorities, I announced. Federal investigators will be in touch. The room exploded into chaos. Guests were shouting questions, taking pictures, some heading for the exits. The mayor was on his phone, probably calling his lawyer to distance himself from the family. You destroyed us, Gwendolyn said, her voice barely audible above the noise. You destroyed yourselves. Mitchell grabbed my arm. You have no idea what you've done. I know exactly what I've done. We'll fight this. We'll prove you're unfit. With what? Fabricated evidence? Forged documents? Good luck. Sirens wailed in the distance, getting closer. What's that? Someone asked. Police, I said. I called them an hour ago. The front doors burst open. 6 officers in uniform, led by a detective I recognized from fraud cases I'd worked on. Detective Morrison, I said. Perfect timing. Ms. Foster, he nodded. We got your call about the financial crimes. Foster? Nora looked confused. Her name is Burns. Actually, I said, I filed for divorce this morning. I'm going back to my maiden name. The officers were already moving toward the family table. Mitchell Burns, you're under arrest for fraud, forgery, and elder abuse. This is insane, Mitchell backed away. I'm not going anywhere. Sir, please don't make this harder than it needs to be. As they cuffed Mitchell, I walked over to Jace. He looked broken, older than his 70 years. I'm sorry, I said quietly. I'm sorry it had to happen this way. My own son, he whispered. The money can be recovered. Most of it, anyway. It's not about the money. I knew what he meant. It was about trust. about family, about discovering that the people closest to you had been lying to your face for years. "Gwendolyn Burns," another officer called out, "you're also under arrest." "For what?" "Money laundering, conspiracy to commit fraud." As they led her away in handcuffs, she turned back to me. "This isn't over," she snarled. "Yes," I said. "It is." The party was over. Guests were streaming out, still talking, still recording. The story would be all over social media within hours. I walked outside and called Delilah. "It's done," I said. "How do you feel?" I looked back at the mansion, at the chaos I'd created, at the family I'd destroyed. Empty. The courthouse steps were crowded with reporters when I walked out with Livia's hand in mine. The custody hearing had lasted 3 hours, but the judge's decision was swift and final. "Full custody to the mother," he'd said. "The restraining order is dismissed. All financial accounts are to be restored immediately." "Mummy, why are there so many people?" Livia asked, squeezing my hand tighter. "They want to hear our story, baby, but we don't have to talk to them." "Ms. Foster," a reporter pushed forward, "how does it feel to have your daughter back?" I kept walking, but Livia tugged on my sleeve. "Can I say something?" she asked. I knelt down to her level. "You don't have to, sweetheart." "I want to." I looked at the crowd of cameras and microphones. "Are you sure?" She nodded. I stood up and faced the reporters. "My daughter would like to make a statement." The crowd quieted. Livia stepped forward, still holding my hand. "My daddy took my money," she said in her clear, careful voice. "But my mommy got it back. She's the best mommy in the world." The reporters started shouting questions, but I picked Livia up and carried her to our car. "That was very brave," I told her as I buckled her seatbelt. "Are we going home now?" "Yes, we're going home." But as I started the car, my phone rang. Detective Morrison. "Audrey, we need to talk." "What's wrong?" "Can you come to the station? There's been a development." I looked at Livia in the rearview mirror. "I have my daughter with me." "Bring her, this won't take long." The police station was buzzing with activity when we arrived. Detective Morrison met us at the front desk. "What's this about?" I asked. "Mitchell's been talking. He's trying to cut a deal." "What kind of deal?" "He's claiming you knew about the financial irregularities all along. Says you were complicit." My blood went cold. "That's insane." "I know. But his lawyer is pushing hard. They're saying you only came forward when you realized you'd be caught too." "I have documentation proving otherwise." "I know you do. But there's something else." He led us to a conference room where Delilah was waiting with a stack of files. "What's going on?" I asked. "We found more," Delilah said. "A lot more." She opened the first file. Bank statements, transfer records, investment accounts. The Burns family has been running this scheme for over a decade, not just stealing from Livia and Jace. They've been defrauding clients of the family business, skimming from charity accounts, even stealing from Gwendolyn's son's college fund. Avery's college fund? Gone. $40,000 transferred to the same Cayman account. I thought about Gwendolyn's 10-year-old son, another innocent victim of his family's greed. "How much total?" "Over $2 million. Detective Morrison sat down across from us. "The FBI is taking over the case. This is federal fraud now." "What does that mean for Mitchell's deal?" "There is no deal. He's looking at 20 years minimum." "And Nora?" 15 to 20. Gwendolyn's probably looking at 10. "What about Damon?" "The lawyer? He's already flipped. Gave us everything in exchange for immunity." I felt a strange mix of satisfaction and exhaustion. Justice was being served, but it felt hollow somehow. "Mommy?" Livia looked up from the colouring book someone had given her. "Can we go get ice cream?" Of course, baby. As we left the police station, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. This isn't over. You destroyed my family. I'll destroy yours. I showed it to Detective Morrison. Probably Nora, he said. She made bail this morning. Is that a threat? We'll treat it as one. I'll have patrol cars swing by your house. For how long? Until the trial, maybe longer. I looked down at Livia, who was skipping beside me, completely oblivious to the danger. What if she tries something? She won't. She's too smart for that, but we'll be watching. That evening, I sat in Livia's room while she played with her toys. The house felt different somehow. Quieter. Safer. Mummy? Yes, sweetheart. Is Daddy coming home? I'd been dreading this question. No, baby. Daddy made some bad choices. He has to stay away for a while. How long? A very long time. She nodded solemnly. Because he took my money. Because he hurt people. And when you hurt people, there are consequences. What's consequences? It means you have to face what you did wrong. She thought about this for a moment. Like when I break something and have to clean it up. Exactly like that, but bigger. Will he say sorry? I thought about Mitchell in his jail cell, probably still blaming everyone but himself for his situation. I don't know, baby. Some people don't know how to say sorry. That's sad. Yes, it is. My phone rang. Delilah. Turn on Channel 7, she said. I grabbed the remote and switched to the local news. Mitchell's mugshot filled the screen. Former businessman Mitchell Burns was sentenced today to 22 years in federal prison for fraud and elder abuse, the anchor was saying. His mother and sister received sentences of 18 and 12 years respectively. The story continued with footage from Jace's birthday party, the slideshow playing on the mansion's screen, guests recording everything on their phones. The case broke when Burns's wife, forensic accountant Audrey Foster, discovered the theft and compiled evidence that led to the family's arrest. They showed a photo of me and Livia leaving the courthouse. Foster has since divorced Burns and regained custody of their daughter, whose special needs trust fund was among the accounts targeted by the family. I turned off the TV. Is that us? Livia asked. Yes. Are we famous? For a little while. Is that good or bad? I pulled her into my lap. I don't know yet. But as I held my daughter, listening to her breathe, feeling her heartbeat against my chest, I realised something. It didn't matter if we were famous or infamous. It didn't matter if people judged my choices or questioned my methods. Livia was safe. Her money was restored. Her future was secure. And Mitchell would never hurt us again. The revenge had cost me a marriage, a family, and probably years of looking over my shoulder. But it had given me something more valuable. It had given me my daughter's life back. And that was worth everything.